Reporting from Arkham Asylum, this is Gotham Rogues. In this video, we take a look at the comic book storyline Face to Face to Face to Face. Face to Face to Face to Face was a one-shot story published in Teen Titans Spotlight issue number 13 in 1987. It was written by J. Michael Straczynski and penciled by Chuck Patton. Teen Titans Spotlight was a short-lived title launched in the late 80s to capitalize on the success of Marv, Wolfman and George Perez' New Teen Titans comic. While New Teen Titans featured stories with the entire team, Spotlight focused on a different individual member every issue. In issue 13, the spotlight fell upon Vic Stone, aka Cyborg. Now what's this got to do with Batman villains, you ask? Well, in the story, Cyborg goes up against none other than our very own Harvey Dent, aka Two-Face. In the story, Vic Stone finds himself in Gotham where he's accepting an award from the Gotham City Humanitarian Society for his many good deeds. The ceremony is aired live on TV, and Two-Face, who's chilling in his hideout, happens to catch it. Harvey immediately identifies with Vic due to their somewhat similar binary appearance. He is however disgusted by the way Cyborg is hailed and admired as a hero, while he himself is considered an evil monster. Two-Face feels that he and Cyborg are the same, and that people would shun and despise Vic too if only his shiny hero image was tainted. Then everyone would see him for what he was, a hideous, deformed monster, and after being hated and cast out of society, Vic too would become a cold, cruel criminal. When this story was published, Two-Face's main motivation for turning to the dark side was still vanity. Due to his disfigurement, he felt like a freak and believed that everyone, including his fiancée, were disgusted by him. The only life left for him was one of crime, or so he reasoned. Merely 3 years later, in 1990, Dent's backstory and character would receive a complete overhaul that excluded the vanity in favor of deeper roots of insanity. That's a whole other video though. Back to the story. Two-Face decides that he's going to prove his theory to Cyborg. So he kidnaps Vic's girlfriend Cynthia and forces the Titan to follow his every instruction, or else he'll never see Cynthia alive again. Cyborg's instructions are to commit a string of crimes across Gotham while wearing a raggedy Two-Face style coat as a disguise so that no one will recognize him. All the while, Dent keeps an eye on his every move through surveillance cameras set up all over town. Two-Face's theory proves to be true, and he watches as people begin to see this perpetrator as a monstrosity. In the end, Cyborg and Two-Face face each other in a shocking confrontation where Vic is forced to make an incredibly difficult decision. I won't spoil beyond that, and I recommend that you read the story for yourself to find out what happens. After all, this comic really deserves to be read by more people. It's an overlooked gem that's never once been reprinted. Writer J. Michael Straczynski really writes one hell of a Two-Face that manages to be very scary and sadistic, while he also comes off as tragic and even sympathetic. Harvey's split personality is handled very well too, with two voices inside his head that converse with each other, and one of them is clearly more sinister and manipulates the other. It's also pretty obvious that Dent isn't trying to prove anything to Cyborg, as he says, but to himself. Harvey's trying to convince himself that it's not his fault that he became an evil monster, and that anyone else would have done the same if faced with a similar fate. I don't have too much to say about Chuck Patton's artwork. I've never seen his art in any other story besides this one, but what I see here is pretty solid. I like it, but it's not amazing in any way. So, there you have it. That's Face to Face to Face to Face, one of the greatest Two-Face stories ever told. Join me at Arkham Asylum again sometime for some more rogueness.